Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. Alright? Alright, you know what it is. P. Diddy is up for bail tomorrow. His lawyer said there's never been a case like this in New York's history where someone is held in custody for this type of charge for hiring someone to bone their girl. Alright? Gunshots. So this is what it is. And Donald Trump is considering pardoning Diddy, looking over the facts. We're going to get right into this. Make sure you subscribe to my daughter's YouTube page. Let's ride. All right, you know what it is. Unique Mecca Audio, man. Diddy's lawyer is asking for release from jail. There's never been a case like this in history where someone is in prison for hiring someone to bone their girl. Put it in the comments if you think that he should be in prison. He's saying that he should get bail because the lawyer sent him back to go look over. The prosecutor told the lawyer and the prosecutors, the judge. The judge told the lawyer and the prosecutor, go back, look over everything. Y'all bring me cases, support your stance, and from them looking, they see that, whoa, Diddy's the only one ever been in jail for paying someone to bone his girl. So now they're shooting him back at the judge. Now, Diddy is taking another bite at the apple because his legal team has filed a new motion for bail, and they say he's the only man in America behind bars for hiring a male sex worker to bang his girl. The star's attorney Renew calls for bail, claiming he might be the only person currently in the United States jail for merely being a prostitution customer. What do you think about that? Y'all put that in the comments, let me know. You think he's the only one in America behind bars for that? You know, Sean Diddy Combs' legal team is again arguing for his release from federal prison nearly 2 months after the embellished what they call a music mogul was acquitted of the most serious charges in his federal sex crimes trial. According to legal documents revealed by USA Today, Combs' lawyer asked Judge Arbrun Subramanian on Tuesday, July 29th, to release Combs on a $50 million bond and allow him to live in his Miami mansion instead of the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn as he awaits sentencing on October 3rd. So what they're saying is, we beat the RICO, we beat this, we beat that. He ain't got nothing serious no more. These are just minor charges. Let him go lay up in his mansion. Remember when he beat the trial, Diddy was feeling himself, right? That's right. Diddy was feeling himself. When he beat the trial, he only offered them like a couple of million, maybe 5, 10 million, whatever it was. You rat bastards and flip-flop wearing in public trolls, correct me if you feel I'm wrong. Now they back to the 50 million and putting up the mansion, knowing that they're telling the judge that, he's definitely going to be coming back because he ain't looking at no real time. He only going to get, hopefully, time served or between 15 to 24 months, or as the prosecutor's trying to get, from 48 to 58 months. All right? So that's where we at. Now, right, Diddy's legal team, spearheaded by Mark Agafilio and Terry Guerreros, however you pronounce it, just sent a new bail package proposal over to Judge Arbrun Subramanian, rattling off a list of reasons why they believe Diddy should be released from jail before his October 3rd sentencing. Because that's what the judge told him to do. Go back and show me cases substantiating what you're saying. In the documents, right, obtained by TMZ, Diddy's lawyers argue most folks convicted of Mann Act charges, Diddy was found guilty of 2 Mann Act counts, are released from custody before sentencing. So they're saying, so why is Diddy in jail? Somebody put it in the comments why you feel Diddy's in jail still for that, right? Now, though the 12-person jury on July 2nd convicted the Bad Boy Records founder on the two more minor counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, jurors found Combs not guilty of racketeering and sex trafficking in his sweeping nearly 2-month trial. It took him 2 months just to show us that Diddy was a freak. The internet already told us that he was a freak. You know what I mean? So let's go. Now, the 2 guilty counts which concern his relationships with ex-girlfriend Cassandra Ventura Fine and an anonymous Jane, who we now know who Jane Doe is. Y'all know who Jane Doe is? Somebody let me know who Jane Doe is. Carry a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison on each count. Prosecutors, though, have signaled that Combs himself may face a lesser time due to federal sentencing guidelines. So the prosecutors even saying that he might get less than the guidelines of 11 to 24 months. So that's a hint that the prosecutor is, succumbing to admit that the charges were bullshit. You know what I mean? It was just straight bullshit. So they're saying that he might even get below the 11 months. Below the 11 months mean time served, but he's asking for bail tomorrow. Remember that. Diddy's asking for bail tomorrow. All right. Now, let's keep this moving, right? After the jury's verdict, Subramanian denied bail for Combs and ordered for him to remain in jail, suggesting a sentencing hearing in October, but left the door open for an expedited court date. Right? So that means they could speed up the sentencing. Diddy's camp says it's ridiculous he's behind bars because he was only convicted of hiring professional male escorts who were not minors. Didn't everybody say there was all these minors? Where's the minors? That's all I want to know. To have sex with his long-term girlfriend as part of threesomes. They say it was all part of Diddy, Cassie, and Jane living a swingers lifestyle. It is impossible for the defendant to demonstrate by clear and convincing evidence that he possessed no danger, Subramanian previously said. That's what he said at his, bail hearing after his sentencing. Combs has been jailed since his September arrest and has maintained his innocence, previously pleading not guilty to all charges. In a post-verdict hearing, Subramanian explained that Jane's testimony, in which she alleged Combs choked and dragged her during an argument in June 2024, even as Combs was aware of the active federal investigation into his conduct, played into his decision. In other words, that he gave Cassie played into his decision. He also noted that Combs' team admitted that we own the domestic violence regarding Ventura Fine, long-standing allegations of long-term abuse, first detailed in the November 23 civil lawsuit. So in other words, that's where the lawyer messed up, because the lawyer admitted that Diddy was whooping that ass. So that's where we at, right? Does he look like a woman beater to you? Put it in the comments. All right, let's keep it moving. In court, lawyers for Combs argued that he was responsible for physical abuse towards romantic partners, but not guilty on federal crimes such as sex trafficking. Now, his legal team asserted their client did engage in violent acts towards Ventura Fine. That was their mistakes. But the me and you hitmaker was willing sex partner and participant in hours-long sex sessions dubbed freak-offs. See, Diddy having fun? Think Diddy be having fun tomorrow? Do you think he'd be in Miami tomorrow night? Because tomorrow he's asking for bail. Do you think Diddy should be in Miami tomorrow night, or do you think Diddy should stay in jail? Y'all put it in the comments. His lawyers say a lot of his changed in terms. A lot has changed in terms of society's views on sex since the Mann Act was passed 115 years ago in June 1910. And they claim Diddy never had sex with the guys he hired, only his girlfriend did. So all he did was pay for it. So that's what they're saying. Diddy is awaiting sentencing on October 3rd after being convicted of the prostitution charges and skating on the more serious charges, racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. But he was denied bail hours after the jury returned its verdict. Because they said that ass whoop he gave Cassie wasn't going to get him out of there. The judge said Diddy was a danger to the community because of his violent past that his defense did not shy away from at trial. And that was a mistake because they admitted to it, and you never admit to nothing because you already know the rules. Shut the F up. In the documents, Diddy's defense say he only got violent with Jane in June 2024 only. Once is more than enough, Diddy. All right, that's where the judge is at. After she provoked him with her own violent acts. So in other words, she smacked the crap out of him, he smacked the crap out of her and took it to the next level, a little too far, and they claim that's the only instance of Diddy being violent since his split from Cassie. So in other words, they ass whooping with Cassie, right? That's one. And then now he whooped James, it's in June 2024. That's two. They're saying they separate apart, that he's a changed man, and he's been in prison, and he's been taking domestic violence and all that while he's in prison, so all that would play into his sentencing. They say he won't be violent if released on bail. Now, how could they determine if he will or what or won't be doing? Diddy's proposed bail package looks like this: a $50 million bond secured by Diddy's Florida estate and co-signed by 3 financially responsible people. The proposal says Diddy will reside at his Miami home and limit his travel to the Southern District of Florida and the Southern District of New York only. It also proposes he be placed under U.S. Pretrial Services Agency supervision and surrenders his passport. In other words, give him an ankle bracelet, put a Buy Smart link in his phone where you could track him. Treat him like you treat other people. It is also Diddy says in the court, if the court wants to add some more bail conditions, that's fine too. In other words, do whatever you got to do, but just let my client out of jail. End of story. Even if it means home detention, treatment for mental health and substance abuse, electronic surveillance, and private security. So they saying, let him go in his Miami mansion and get, and get substance abuse for his drugs and, for the mental health treatment, and we'll pay for it at his house. Now, right? Mr. Combs has been held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn since his arrest in September 2024. Miss Westmoreland, in her interview, said that Mr. Combs remained in a dormitory-style unit called 4 North, known to house high-profile inmates. And rat bastards. Let's not forget that. But we know Diddy's not a rat bastard because he stood up and went up against the whole government. All right. She says that Combs has stayed in communication with his family and legal team, and that his lawyers were committed to working on his release. We're not going to be satisfied, Miss Westmoreland said, until he's home. Now, of course not. He's putting the bag up. You need to do what you need to do to get him home. So let's stop the games. The judge has yet to rule, but prosecutors previously argued against Diddy being released before sentencing. They now have until Thursday, July 31st to respond. Stay tuned. And do you think that Diddy should be released on bail so he can go back to his party and having fun and living his life and rebuilding the fortune that he spent on these attorneys? Somebody put it in the comments. Somebody let me know. Now, the next topic. Donald Trump is looking over if Diddy was unjustly, treated because he went through the same type of treatment in in the New York federal courts. So he understand what Diddy's going through, and he see it. You see it. First, everybody was against Diddy. Diddy. Diddy got minors. Diddy got this. Diddy did that. Diddy did that. Now, everybody is seeing that there was none of that. That's just the way the subliminal message was thrown out there. And then social media, for clicks, likes, views, and a paycheck, let's not forget the paycheck, they went up there and said anything. That's why you haven't been seeing me up there, recently that much, because I haven't found anything that's moralistically right to respond to. Because I'm not just going to respond to frivolous bull crap. I'm going to give you the best content that I can educate you to stay away from the streets, violence, and breaking the law, because it's not worth it. If anyone ever told you it's not worth it, I'm telling you now, it's not worth it. Look at Diddy. All the money in the world he got, and he had to go through what he went through. What do you think should happen with Diddy? Do you think Donald Trump should pardon Diddy? Do you think Donald Trump will pardon Diddy? How would you feel if Donald Trump pardoned Diddy? Somebody put in the comments. And what I don't understand is, can we ride? Diddy is sitting here right now. You look at it, fighting for his life while he's fighting for his freedom, and all this is going on. Then now, all of a sudden, Donald Trump steps in and he's trying to help. And then I'm seeing on the morning shows and the news channels, Donald Trump only trying to do this because he's trying to get views and he's trying to get that. Man, it's sweating in here because it's 100-something degrees outside. Bear with me. It's hotter than a monkey's ass in here right now. You know what I mean? If you understand that, god damn. Monkeys is always humping, But anyway, so people is trying to say, the news people are trying to say, Donald Trump is trying to get votes, Donald Trump is trying to do this, Donald Trump is trying to do that. Why not just look at it like Donald Trump, just see what Donald Trump feels is the injustice that's being done to Diddy. Because after he's been through all that for the RICO, that's ex-trafficking, and he beat that, and now he's still going through this. What do y'all think? Do y'all think Donald Trump is just doing this to get attention? Because Donald Trump even said he knew Diddy before that he don't know what went wrong other than he became a politician. Everybody have different views, and they fell off, but they never had, any bad blood. We know Diddy said a couple of negative things about him, but that was politically. That was not about his personal character against Trump's personal character. So I think that Donald Trump will be pardoning Diddy. You know what I mean? Now, how many of y'all is going to go to Diddy's first concert? Let's say Diddy get out, and a month later for Christmas, and that'll be sold out. He's in Madison Square Garden, and he goes on a tour. Let's say Diddy brings in a New Year tour. That's what I would do if I was Diddy and I had the bag. I would bring in a New Year tour to let everybody know I'm back, baby. Now picture Diddy having a New Year's tour for 2026 coming up, right? Would you go to the concert? Would you pay to go to the concert? And how much would you? What if they told you tickets was $500 a seat? Would you pay to go to that Diddy concert? I know I went to one of those, who was that? Movado and somebody the other day in the Barclays, and it was like $300 for a seat. So would you pay $500 for a seat for Diddy? Because then, if it's $500, they're also going to have the top of the line joints for, $1,000, $5,000. I think it was Nicki Minaj was selling seats for $5,000 or something like that. Like, what do you think about that? Somebody let me know. Somebody put in the comments. Remember to subscribe to my daughter's YouTube channel, and that's what it is. Where Nene at? She in here? Nope. She always missed the ball. Don't even worry about it. Grandkids is here. Let me get ready to tap out. Subscribe to my daughter's YouTube channel. If you don't know how to spell it, it's right here. All right, let's keep it moving.
Cheers.
Damn it.
The crime.
Fresh out the can of 26, he back on the strip, getting back in the mix. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this.
Real.
Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably was your grandfather. Probably the reason that him and your Grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, Mecca audio.
Mecca what? Mecca audio. Mecca what? Mecca audio. Mecca what? Mecca audio. Mecca what? Mecca audio. And we gon' do it like. We gon' do it like. We keep it moving like. We gotta do it like.
Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was whining. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spend a couple bands on the Dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a raw in Uptown. They be horn Uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, we got a lot to give. Now he trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend an ear. He started in Uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community yours, so we can give back to the.
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.